Well, as you can tell, I got all the plastic off the quad and got my clutch apart. Well, sort of apart. Now you can do it like this one here. You can check the clutch on these to make sure that they're still in good operation, in good condition to operate. They're like a snowmobile clutch. These Polaris ones. They have what's called weights right here. I'm not too sure if you can see that. Here, I'll move them. Right here. And right in here with these weights right on too, they're called rollers. Then you got the clutch spring, and the clutch basically moves kind of like this, right? So now checking this clutch, I've got the correct weight. The rollers, there's no flat spots, but the spring is incorrect. The wrong color. Springs for these clutches or any other ATV or snowmobiles, they go by color, and each manufacturer is a little bit different. But if you stick to the stock springs from, like, say for example here from Polaris, each color of the springs is a different weight, meaning that the clutch will engage at a higher RPM. So the stock spring for this primary clutch from Polaris is blue. It's blue, and I think there's a couple of stripes, green stripes on it. Not too sure on that one. I'll have to check into it. Now the secondary clutch, I haven't taken that one apart, but I will. And I'll check inside to make sure it's in good condition. There should be some rollers in there, whatnot, on the helix. There's going to be a way for the helix to open up and close inside. And also I'll check the spring to make sure it's the stock spring, because I don't like the engagement on this. It just revs up way too high before it engages. So that's what initially led me to believe that maybe the clutch needs to be rebuilt. Maybe the rollers are shot, or the weights are the wrong weights, or whatever. But all that's good, and it's a nice and clean clutch. No grooves on side, nice and smooth. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the spring. Wrong spring. I know it's the wrong color, so I'm going to go with the spring. And that's where we're at right now. I'm going to have to adjust the valves on it. I don't think it's ever been done. So, and to do that, to make it easier, take the gas tank off. I'm already at that point. There's nothing left on the bike. I've got all the plastic off. So I may as well just take the gas tank off so I can adjust my valves. Because I noticed that when you give it throttle and you let it go, it backfires a little bit. So I'm going to go with the valves needing to be adjusted. I wouldn't be surprised. Now this, turns out, and this is something you should check out. I'm lucky it turned out in my favor. I called Polaris, a dealership, gave him my VIN number, and I told him it's a 2000 Polaris Sportsman 500. And here's the VIN number. So he comes back on the phone and he goes, well, it's not a 2000, it's a 2003. So now I'm thinking, what did I buy? Fantastic. So what I did is I went and checked on the frame. Now, all of them they're all a little bit different, but on the Polaris, usually it's stamped on the frame. So it has to be stamped on the frame. It can be somewhere, but on mine here, it's on the, sitting on the bike, left-hand side, just in back of the front wheel, right there on the frame, it's stamped, right there. And that number matches my VIN number, which means this bike is a 2003, which means that the previous owner, no idea what he was thinking, registered it as a 2000. So it makes me feel better because, if I am correct in my research, after 2000, Polaris made some, I don't know, some adjustments or maybe some modifications on the engine where they were not prematurely wearing out the cam lobe on the engine, because apparently the 2000 and earlier on the 500 they had a problem with getting oil pressure up to the head, which would wear out the cam lobe, and then one of the symptoms was that it would backfire through the intake. So and when it started doing that, then you're pretty sure you need to do put a new cam. So 2003, I believe that was fixed, And so that's why I'm thinking that my little bit of backfiring I noticed is probably has to do with the valves need to be adjusted. They've probably never been done. And also my exhaust pipe is leaking like crazy, so that's probably not helping any. Here it is right here on the ground, my exhaust pipe and muffler, the pipe and so on. I'm going to get new donut, new springs, and also trying to figure out why. I mean, if you take a look at the way these mount up, this is kind of like a flange right here, and I guess it just presses to the end of the muffler right here, and it's held by springs. So I'm not too sure how that is a perfect seal. It doesn't make sense to me. I'll have to look into it more. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take it in with me to that the bike shop where they sell Polaris, and maybe they can take a look and tell me whether or not this is the correct pipe and muffler for this bike. Kind of weird. It just doesn't seem to seal, because I noticed that there was some blow-by right on the edges right here. So that tells me that it's not sealing properly inside this pocket here. So I will look into that. So that's where we're at right now. I got to order some parts. More than likely the springs, I'll probably get them at the dealership. Yeah, it's going to cost me a bit more, but at least I know I have the correct spring weight. I'm going to get ball joints, which I'll probably order online, cheaper. And but before I order those, I'm going to take the wheels off, make sure the wheel bearings are good, and also the brake pads are not all worn out. And so when I have all that stuff on order, while I'm waiting for that to come in, I'll do a complete fluid change on the bike, do a engine oil change, front transfer case, front diff, and I'll do the transmission, rear diff, and transfer case. I believe if there is one transfer case in here, I don't think there is, but I think it's all one unit here in the back. I'll change the oil on that, and yeah, go from there. And also, yeah, of course, adjust the valves. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. So I didn't film the process of taking the plastics off. I mean, it's just it's not that hard. I mean, just start taking bolts off. That's all that's holding the plastic down. Start taking bolts off and label your bolts so you know where they're going, and pull your plastic off. So, and as for the handlebars, which are crooked, this is where, right here, you can see where they're bent down. So it looks like something hit the handlebars. I don't know what, but bent them right here. So you know what? I'm going to leave them the way they are. And once we get the bike all together and we're driving it, if we're finding it's annoying, then I'll get new bars. On eBay, I saw new bars for this bike for like 50 bucks. So if it's annoying too much, then we'll get new bars. It's just a matter of taking the pod off right here to access all this. So if it's too annoying, take these off, get new bars, put it back together. But if it doesn't bother me, then keep driving it. So anyway, that's it for now.